Last time we discussed about you creating an artistic response to everything that this course meant to you, what you learned, and how you see yourself, as a practicing therapist. So I was wondering if you'd like to start off by discussing about that.
Yeah, this is my piece here. When we had this discussion, I kind of was thinking about all the different, different micro skills and the things that we've learned through the course, and kind of going back and reflecting on some of the weekly module pages on the website and stuff. And there's a lot of different tiny topics that I was kind of honing in on, but I think more for this, I kind of wanted to focus on like a holistic, how I'm holistically feeling about the whole, art of being a counselor, I guess. And a lot of what I think we've been learning about is about the idea of reflection, and that so much of our job is to help the client view something from an alternative perspective, but kind of not offer any kind of new information, but just reiterate kind of what they are experiencing in a new way that might help them gain some perspective. And so I kind of wanted to play with the idea of like a reflection. And when I decided like, okay, what am I going to reflect? Like, what is going to be the thing? The other thing that was kind of coming out in my mind was this idea of wanting the counseling relation to feel really organic and really natural. And so I chose a leaf to kind of represent that. And kind of having it be a yin and yang, which I don't know if you can see, it's not the most.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Very cool. And then I think then these pieces were more so kind of representing how it can, just the fragmentation of like how some of these reflections can come across in a slightly different manner depending on how, and noticing those like teeny tiny little differences, which is again some detailing that I don't know if you can see, but and just being really like kind of in tune with like how certain little words might affect people differently, and being very just hyper aware of your speech and paying attention to detail, I guess.
Wow, so it seems to me that you created the whole world there. This world of holistic perspective, and that this is what you wanted to create. And you talked about reflection a lot, and you talked about helping clients to navigate and steering together with them, the direction, and finding together with them the solution. And also you talked about details, how these micro skills and details are so important in the process. So I was wondering if you can elaborate a bit about reflection, for example, which was the first thing you mentioned. In what way was it revealing for you?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely been a little bit of a learning experience to, from the intensive on to and some of the exercises we did, to kind of really listen, try and get a big picture of like what this person is saying, but then to reiterate it in a way that it doesn't reflect anything personal. Just because of the way that I feel like so much of what we see is so based on our own positioning, I guess. And but I also saw how powerful and how beautiful it can be sitting on the other side and sitting in the client seat, to have someone do that for me, and in however simple way. And I think that, I think it just goes back to like, basically how I believe about humanity, right? That we learn from each other. that we're each other's like greatest resource, I guess, just like with friends and whatnot, like having people in your life to talk through something with, you know, in a really objective way, like that is like, it's just such a really powerful thing. And so it's the reflecting thing was just, I don't know, it's just a metaphor that has just stuck out with me a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems to me that you felt quite filled by this metaphor. I mean, it was something important to you in your, you know, in your journey as a student and future counselor.
Yeah, I think.
Am I reading this right, or maybe?
Yeah, I think you are. I think it's, you know, I never thought about it so directly until this project came on, but it definitely is a metaphor that, you know, we want to be like kind of like a mirror, I guess, for somebody to like be able to reflect back on themselves. And I don't know, that's kind of stuck with me just because of, I appreciate, I guess, it's so much being in this program that is the focus, coming from like a pretty, you know, medical model psychology background and in mainstream academia and whatnot, that, you know, it's all about kind of that this is the right way to do things, and you know, much more influential. And I kind of like the fact that you know, it's just been such a breath of fresh air. And I think maybe that's why it's resonated with me so much, that, you know, we are, you know, learning so much, that we are kind of just guides and like, you know, partners to our clients versus like the authority figure. So yeah.